She scrubbed floors for pennies while mockery rained down like acid. Amara, a 28-year-old maid with calloused hands and a weary heart, knew her place in Lagos, or so everyone believed. The woman in the crimson Mercedes had no idea a billionaire watched from the shadows. What happened next proved that sometimes the most powerful witness is the one you never see. Act 1. Setup Scene 1. Protagonist introduction. The dawn broke over Lagos with reluctant light, casting long shadows across the Ajao estate settlement where Amara Okonkwo lived. Her room, a cramped space barely larger than a storage closet, sat at the back of a crumbling compound shared by 12 families. The walls, once painted yellow, had faded to the color of old newspapers. Water stains mapped continents across the ceiling. Amara woke at 4:30 a.m. without an alarm. Her body had memorized this rhythm over 4 years of domestic work. She was 28 but looked older. Hard labor had etched fine lines around her eyes, though they still held something unbreakable. A quiet dignity that poverty couldn't wash away. She splashed cold water on her face from the plastic bucket beside her mattress. No running water today. Again. Her reflection in the cracked mirror showed a slender woman with high cheekbones and natural hair pulled into a simple bun. She wore the same faded blue dress she'd worn yesterday, and the day before. It was one of 3 she owned. Just get through today, she thought, the mantra that had carried her through countless mornings. One day closer to paying off Mama's hospital bills. Her breakfast was gari soaked in cold water with a pinch of sugar, the meal of Nigeria's struggling masses. She ate quickly, mechanically, her mind already cataloging the day's tasks. Mrs. Adeyemi's house needed deep cleaning. The children's school uniforms required ironing. Bathrooms, kitchen, windows. Amara checked the small tin box hidden beneath her mattress. Inside, carefully folded naira notes represented 3 months of savings. 42,000 naira. Not nearly enough for her mother's dialysis treatments, but growing. Slowly. Painfully slowly. She locked her door with a padlock worth more than everything inside combined and began her journey. 2 Damfo buses. 45 minutes if traffic cooperated. Never did. The morning air already carried Lagos's signature cocktail of exhaust fumes, grilling suya, and determination. As she walked toward the bus stop, neighbors stirred in doorways. Mama Chitty, selling akra from a smoking wok, nodded. Amara Enini. God will bless your hustle. Amen, ma. Amara managed a small smile. These people understood struggle. They lived it together. But at the bus stop, the world began to shift. Women in corporate attire scrolled through smartphones. Men in tailored suits checked expensive watches. Amara kept her eyes down, invisible among the visible. She'd learned that invisibility was survival. She thought of her mother in the hospital bed. Dialysis machine humming its expensive song. She thought of her younger sister, Chidinma, depending on her for school fees. She thought of the degree in business administration she'd earned before their father died. Now just paper in a folder, useless without connections or capital. I used to have dreams, she admitted to herself as the bus arrived. Now I just have responsibilities. Scene 2. Antagonist introduction. 30 minutes across the city. In the exclusive Banana Island neighborhood, Victoria Obi woke to Egyptian cotton sheets in silence. Her bedroom was larger than the entire compound where Amara lived. Floor-to-ceiling windows overlooked the Lagos Lagoon, where morning light danced on water like scattered diamonds. Victoria was 32, beautiful in the sharp way of women who'd never missed a meal or a beauty appointment. Her skin glowed from monthly facials. Her Brazilian weave cost more than Amara earned in 6 months. She was the wife of a prominent oil executive, a title she wore like armor. She pressed a button on her nightstand. Somewhere in the mansion, a bell rang. Minutes later, her housemaid appeared with breakfast on a silver tray. Victoria didn't look at the girl's face. She never did. Help was interchangeable, invisible, beneath notice. This tea is cold, Victoria said, though steam still rose from the cup. Are you incompetent? I'm sorry, ma. I'll get out. Send someone who knows how to do their job. Victoria scrolled through Instagram as the girl fled. 14,000 followers. She posted a photo of her closet. Rows of designer handbags, shoes that cost more than some people's yearly salary. The caption read, "Blessed and highly favored. Hashtag luxury, hashtag Lagos living, hashtag class not mass." Comments flooded in. Heart emojis. Praise. Envy disguised as admiration. Victoria smiled. This was her kingdom. A world where money bought not just things but relevance, respect, power. She'd grown up middle class, the daughter of a civil servant. But she clawed her way up through strategic beauty, calculated charm, and a marriage to Emeka Obi. Now she had everything. The car. The house. The life. And she protected it ferociously, terrified someone might see through to the insecure girl she'd once been. Poor people disgusted her. They reminded her of what she'd escaped, what she feared returning to. So she treated them with contempt, a wall built from her own buried shame. Her phone rang. Her friend Zainab, equally wealthy, equally cruel. "Victoria, we're still doing lunch at Ocean Basket? I need to escape this heat. 1 o'clock. I have errands first. Boring charity committee meeting. You know how it is, we have to pretend we care about the less fortunate." Victoria laughed, sharp and hollow. She selected her outfit with military precision. A white linen pantsuit. Gucci. Red-soled heels. Her Mercedes CLA waited in the driveway, recently washed, gleaming like a weapon. As she applied the final touches of makeup, Victoria studied her reflection with satisfaction. Perfect. Untouchable. "I've earned this life," she told herself. People who haven't made it simply didn't try hard enough. Scene 3. The inciting incident, the intersection of Admiralty Way and Legali Aaron Street, was chaos that Tuesday morning. Traffic crawled. Hawkers weaved between cars selling everything from phone chargers to plantain chips. The air shimmered with heat and exhaust. Amara stood at the edge of the road waiting to cross. She just left Mrs. Adeyemi's house after an 8-hour shift. Her feet ached. Her back throbbed. But she had enough money to buy Mama's medication tonight, so she felt almost light. The traffic light turned red. Vehicles stopped. Amara stepped into the crosswalk. Victoria's Mercedes approached too fast. She was texting Zainab about lunch, barely watching the road. Her driver had called in sick, so she drove herself, a rare inconvenience that had already soured her mood. She hit the brakes hard. Too hard. The car jolted to a stop and her iced coffee, sitting in the cup holder, toppled forward, splashing across her white pants. "Damn it!" Victoria's scream pierced through her closed windows. She looked up, needing someone to blame. Her eyes found Amara crossing directly in front of her car. Victoria's hand slammed on the horn. Once. Twice. 3 times. Amara froze like a startled animal, turning toward the sound. Victoria rolled down her window. The words came fast, hot with displaced rage. "Are you blind? Do you think this road belongs to you?" Amara's mouth opened. "Ma, the light is red. Don't talk back to me. Look at you, dressed like a beggar, walking like you own the street. People like you should stay in your corner and know your place." The intersection went quiet. Drivers watched. Pedestrians stopped. In Lagos, everyone loved drama, and this was quality entertainment. Amara felt heat rush to her face. Not anger but shame. The old familiar shame of poverty. "I'm sorry, Ma. I was just crossing." "Sorry." Victoria's laugh was cruel. "You're probably on your way to steal from some house. That's what your type does, isn't it? Maids who think they can take what doesn't belong to them." Each word landed like a physical blow. Amara's hands trembled. She wanted to run, to disappear, to unhear what had just been said. A motorcycle taxi driver called out, "Sister, the light is red. Oh. She has right of way." Victoria turned her venom on him. "Mind your business before I call the police." The man went silent. In Nigeria, threatening the police worked. Power protected power. Amara managed to move, her legs somehow carrying her forward. She didn't look back. Couldn't. Tears burned her eyes, but she refused to let them fall. Not here. Not in front of these strangers who just witnessed her humiliation. Behind her, Victoria's Mercedes roared away the moment the light turned green. But what neither woman knew was that someone had seen everything. Scene 4. Secret observer introduced in the tinted black Range Rover stopped 3 cars behind Victoria's Mercedes. Al-Yamid Bakr sat perfectly still. His jaw clenched so tight it ached. He was 43 years old and worth $2.3 billion. CEO of Betrayal Holdings, real estate, technology, telecommunications. Forbes Africa had featured him twice. Presidents sought his counsel. But right now none of that mattered. All he saw was the woman in the faded blue dress, shoulders curved inward, walking away with her dignity stripped. Humiliates driver, Taiwo, glanced in the rearview mirror. Oga, that woman. I saw. Humiliates' voice was quiet, controlled. But his hands gripped the leather seat. He watched the maid disappear into the crowd. Watched the Mercedes speed away. The intersection resumed its chaos as if nothing had happened. As if a human being hadn't just been degraded for sport. Something old and buried stirred in Humiliates' chest. A memory he usually kept locked away. He was 7 years old again. Standing outside the luxury hotel where his mother cleaned toilets. Watching a wealthy woman in expensive clothes shout at his mother for accidentally brushing her sleeve with a wet mop. Useless woman. Do you know how much this dress costs? More than your miserable life. His mother had apologized. Had bent lower, worked harder, swallowed her pride so she could keep the job that fed her son. Humiliate had become rich so he'd never have to see that look on anyone's face again. Yet here it was. Decades later. Different woman. Same crushing weight of class warfare. Taiwo, did you get the license plate of that Mercedes? Yes, sir. I wrote it down. Good. And did you notice the woman, the maid? Which direction she went? Taiwo pointed. Toward the bus stop, sir. The one heading toward Yaba. Humiliate nodded slowly. His mind was already working, calculating, planning. He'd built an empire through strategic thinking. Now he'd apply those same skills to something more important. He pulled out his phone and called Marcus, his head of security. I need you to trace someone. Discreetly. A woman, late 20s, blue dress, likely works as domestic help in this area. Also trace the owner of this license plate. He rattled off Victoria's number. I want to know everything. Background, employment, family. Both of them. Understood, sir. Time frame. 24 hours. Humiliate ended the call and stared out the window at the Lagos traffic that had swallowed both women. His late wife, Funmi, would have approved of this. Before cancer took her 3 years ago, she'd run a foundation for underprivileged women. Humiliate, she'd said from her hospital bed, her voice weak but fierce. Promise me you'll remember where we came from. Promise me you'll use your wealth to restore dignity. Not just distribute money. He'd promised. But grief and business had distanced him from that vow. Until today. Sir, where to? Taiwo asked. The office. I have meetings. Humiliate straightened his tie. His face returning to its usual composed mask. But inside something had shifted. Amara, he thought, though he didn't yet know her name. Your life is about to change. But first let me find out who you really are. ACT 2. Rising Action Scene 5. Aftermath and daily struggle. Amara reached Mrs. Adeyemi's house 30 minutes late, her mind still replaying the intersection. The words echoed. Your type. Beggar. Thief. You're late, Mrs. Adeyemi said from the doorway, arms crossed. I'm sorry, ma. The traffic. I don't pay you to have excuses. The kitchen hasn't been cleaned. Get to work. Amara nodded and moved past her employer into the house. She changed into her work clothes, an even older dress kept specifically for cleaning, and began scrubbing the kitchen floor on her hands and knees. Her coworker, Blessing, a 19-year-old housegirl, found her there 2 hours later. Blessing worked for the neighbor but often stopped by during errands. Sister Amara, you look sad. What'n happen? Amara kept scrubbing. Nothing. Just tired. Blessing knelt beside her. The girl had a round face and easy smile that reminded Amara of her younger sister. Is it Mama? The hospital. Tears finally came, quiet, defeated tears that dripped onto the wet tiles. This morning a woman, she said things, called me a thief. In front of everyone. Blessing's hand found Amara's shoulder. People can be wicked, but you know who you are. That's what matters. Does it? When the world sees you as nothing. Amara sat back on her heels, exhausted. I did everything right, Blessing. I went to university. I studied. I graduated with honors. And here I am, scrubbing floors while people like her drive cars that cost more than I'll earn in my lifetime. Your time will come. Will it? Amara's laugh was bitter. My mother needs dialysis 3 times a week. Chidinma needs school fees. My time isn't coming. It's already gone. That evening, Amara took the bus to Gbagada General Hospital. Her mother, Nkechi Okonkwo, lay in the charity ward. A room shared by 8 patients, separated by curtains that barely held. Amara NWAM. Her mother's voice was weak. At 56, she looked 70. Kidney failure had hollowed her out. I brought your medication, Mama. Amara held up the small pharmacy bag, purchased with today's wages. You work too hard. I work enough. Amara sat on the edge of the bed, taking her mother's frail hand. The contrast struck her, her own hands rough and callous from labor, her mother's hands swollen and discolored from illness. How is Chidinma? She's good. Top of her class again. This was a lie. Chidinma had been sent home last week for unpaid fees. But Mama didn't need that burden. They sat in silence, listening to the sounds of the ward. Machines beeping. Other patients moaning. Nurses rushing. The symphony of poverty's illness. On her way out, Amara stopped by the billing office. The clerk, a woman with tired eyes and no patience, barely looked up. Okonkwo Nkechi? Yes. Outstanding balance is 187,000 naira. Dialysis for next week is scheduled, but we'll need at least 50,000 by Friday. Amara's stomach dropped. I'll find it. Everyone says that. The clerk finally looked at her. But machines and medicine cost money. Real money. If you can't pay, we'll have to discontinue treatment. Outside the hospital, Amara sat on a concrete bench and counted her remaining cash. 3,000 naira. She had work tomorrow would earn 6,000. Not nearly enough. Never enough. She looked up at the Lagos sky, now dark and starless from city lights. God, if you're listening, she prayed, I'm not asking for riches. Just enough. Just a way through. The city didn't answer. Never did. Scene 6. First anonymous gift 3 days later. Amara returned to her room after another grueling shift to find something impossible. A package sat outside her door. In this neighborhood, packages didn't appear. Things disappeared, stolen, borrowed indefinitely, claimed by the strong from the weak. But never did things arrive. Amara looked around. The courtyard was empty. She picked up the parcel. A brown paper bag, light but substantial, and unlocked her door quickly, bringing it inside. Inside the bag she found 3 things. A pair of good quality work gloves, the kind that would protect hands from harsh chemicals and rough surfaces. A thermos, insulated and new, for keeping water cold during long days. And a sealed envelope. Amara's hand shook as she opened the envelope. Inside, crisp naira notes. She counted twice, disbelieving. 20,000 naira. And a handwritten note on plain white paper. You are seen. You are valued. Your dignity cannot be stolen by cruel words. This is a gift, not charity. You've earned respect 1,000 times over. Use this to ease your burden even slightly. A friend who sees your strength. Amara read the note 3 times. Then 4. Her eyes blurred with tears. But these were different from the one she'd cried after the intersection. These carried something unfamiliar. Something she'd almost forgotten. Hope. She clutched the note to her chest and let herself cry great, heaving sobs of relief and confusion and desperate gratitude. Someone had seen her. Not as invisible help or a beggar or a thief. As a person. But who? And why? Mama Chidi knocked on her door 20 minutes later. Amara, are you well? I heard crying. Amara wiped her face and opened the door. I'm fine. Better than fine. The older woman's eyes narrowed with concern. You sure? You look like you've seen a ghost. Maybe I have. A good one. Amara managed a smile. Thank you for checking, Mama. That night, Amara used 10,000 naira to pay part of her mother's hospital bill. The clerk's surprise was worth everything. How did you? I found a way, Amara said simply. She bought Chidinma's school uniform and paid 2 weeks of fees. She purchased a proper meal, rice, chicken, plantain, and ate until she was full for the first time in months. And she kept the gloves and thermos as treasures, proof that someone somewhere believed she mattered. In her prayers that night, she added new words. Thank you for the friend I haven't met. Whoever they are, bless them as they've blessed me. Scene 7. Observer's investigation in his high-rise office overlooking Lagos Island. Olumide reviewed the file Marcus had compiled. Subject: Amara Nkechi Okonkwo, age 28, education, BSc Business Administration, University of Lagos, second-class upper employment, domestic worker 4 years, multiple households, family. Mother, Nkechi, 56, stage 4 kidney disease. Sister, Chidinma, 16, secondary school. Father, deceased, 2019 traffic accident. Financial status, severe poverty. Character references. Employers report honest, hardworking, reliable criminal record. None outstanding debts. Hospital bills, 187,000 Nigerian nairas. Rent arrears, Nigerian naira, 12,000. Olumide set down the report and stared out at the city. Second-class upper from Unilag. That was no small achievement. Many of his own executives had lesser credentials. She could have been sitting in an office tower like his. Should have been. But her father's death had derailed everything. A story repeated thousands of times across Nigeria. One tragedy and potential became sacrifice. The second file made his jaw tighten. Subject: Victoria Blessing Obi, Neokoro, age 32, education, OND fashion design, Yaba College of Technology, employment. None, housewife, spouse. Emeka Obi, VP of Operations, Zenith Oil and Gas, financial status. Wealthy. Husband's income 45 million Nigerian nairas annually. Social media. Active, Instagram at VictoriaObi_official, 14.2k followers. Character notes. Multiple complaints from domestic staff. High turnover rate. Reputation for difficult behavior, traffic violations. For speeding tickets. 2023 to 2024. Olumide pulled up Victoria's Instagram. Photo after photo of excess. Designer bags. Expensive meals. Luxury cars. And the captions, vapid celebrations of wealth as virtue. One recent post stopped him. A selfie in her Mercedes with the caption, some people will never understand the view from up here. Not everyone is meant to rise. #blessed #elite life. The post was from 4 days ago. The day after the intersection incident. Disgust coiled in Olumide's stomach. This woman used her husband's money to build a platform for cruelty. She hadn't earned her wealth, she'd married it. Yet she wielded it like a sword against those who'd actually worked. He thought of his wife again. Funmi would have known exactly what to say about people like Victoria. Olumide, empty barrels make the most noise. But you can't silence them by shouting back. You must fill others with so much substance that the noise becomes irrelevant. Olumide made his decision. He would help Amara, not publicly, not in a way that humiliated or created dependency. He would restore what cruelty had tried to take. Her dignity, her options, her future. And he would watch to see what kind of person she truly was. Because money could be gifted, but character could only be revealed. He called his assistant. Sarah, I need you to set up an anonymous donor account. Route it through our foundation's discretionary fund. Also, find out which households Amara Okonkwo works for. I want to know her schedule, her routes, her routine. Nothing invasive. Just public information. Sir, may I ask what this is for? Olumide smiled slightly. A promise I'm keeping. To someone who can't ask me to. Scene 8. Antagonist escalates 2 weeks after the first gift. Victoria noticed something that made her skin prickle with annoyance. She was having lunch at La Taverna in 6 when she saw her. The maid from the intersection. Amara. Only she looked different. She wore a simple but clean dress. Her hair was neatly braided. She carried a thermos and walked with something that resembled confidence. She was with another young woman, both of them laughing at something, looking almost happy. Victoria's fork paused halfway to her mouth. Zainab, do you see that woman? Zainab followed her gaze. Which one? The one in the blue. That's the beggar from the intersection. The one who ruined my pants. Oh. Zainab lost interest immediately. What about her? She looks better. Like someone's been helping her. Victoria's eyes narrowed. This bothered her in a way she couldn't articulate. Poor people were supposed to stay poor. That was the natural order. When her driver dropped her at the salon that afternoon, Victoria saw Amara again. This time at the bus stop reading a book. A book. Since when did maids read? Something toxic bloomed in Victoria's chest. She told herself it was concern for society. In reality it was fear. Fear that the distance between her and women like Amara might not be as vast as she needed it to be. The next week, Victoria made a point of driving past Amara's neighborhood. The sight of the crumbling compounds and open sewers should have comforted her. See, we're nothing alike. But instead it stoked her anger. She posted on Instagram. Some people receive help and think they've arrived. Reminder. Handouts don't equal hard work. You can put lipstick on a pig, but it's still a pig. #truthhurts #realitycheck. The post got mixed reactions. Some agreed. Others criticized her. One comment read, "Who hurt you, sis? This energy is dark." Victoria deleted the comment and blocked the user. That Sunday at the church her social circle attended, more fashion show than worship, Victoria spotted Amara in the back rows. The woman wore a simple but dignified outfit and sang with genuine joy. Victoria felt a flash of rage so sudden it startled her. She grabbed her friend Ngozi's arm. "Do you see that woman? Back row." "Who?" "Never mind." Victoria smiled tightly. But a plan was already forming. After service, Victoria approached Pastor Adel, a man whose fondness for wealthy congregants was well known. "Pastor, I'm concerned. I think there's been theft in my neighborhood recently. Small things going missing. And I've seen someone suspicious, a maid attending here. I'm not accusing anyone, but in these times we must be vigilant." Pastor Adel frowned. "Do you know her name?" "No, but she sits in the back. Blue dress. Braids." "I see. I'll make sure our security is aware." "Thank you, Mrs. Obi. It takes a vigilant community to stay safe." Victoria walked away satisfied. She hadn't lied, technically. Just suggested. Planted seeds. Seeds that would poison the soil wherever they landed. By the time she reached her car, she'd almost convinced herself she was doing a public service. Scene 9. Second and third gifts. The second gift arrived a month after the first, again outside Amara's door. This time it was groceries, rice, beans, vegetable oil, tinned tomatoes, a whole chicken. Enough to feed her and Chidinma for 2 weeks. And another envelope. "You've been working harder, but please remember to eat. Strength comes from nourishment, not just determination. Your mother is proud of you even if she doesn't say it. Keep going." Your friend Amara's breath caught. The note knew about her mother. This wasn't random kindness. Someone was actively watching, knowing, caring about her specific life. It should have felt invasive. Instead it felt like being held. She shared the food with Mama Chitty and 3 other neighbors whose children looked too thin. The women cried, asked where this blessing came from. Amara shook her head. "I don't know. But when you receive grace, you pass it on." The third gift came 2 weeks later. This one was different. A savings account passbook from GT Bank, registered in her name. Opening balance, 50,000 naira. And a letter longer this time. "Amara, you don't know me, but I know your story. Not because I've invaded your privacy, but because your struggle is written in every step you take, every shift you work, every sacrifice you make for people you love. I was once where you are. Not exactly every story is unique, but close enough to remember the weight. How it crushes your shoulders. How you smile through tears so others won't see you're breaking. This account is yours. No strings. No debt. I've set it up to receive a monthly deposit for 1 year. Not enough to stop working, but enough to breathe. Enough to dream again. Use it for your mother's treatment. For Chidinma's education. For yourself, and yes, that's allowed. You're permitted to buy something that makes you feel human. I ask only one thing. Don't let cruelty define you. That woman at the intersection was wrong. You are not your circumstances. You are your character. And yours is extraordinary. With deep respect, your friend who believes in you. Amara sat on her mattress, the letter trembling in her hands. She read it until she'd memorized every word. 50,000 naira. Monthly. For a year. That was impossible. That was life-changing. She wanted to find this person to fall at their feet and thank them. But the anonymity felt intentional. This wasn't about gratitude or obligation. It was about restoration. That weekend, Amara paid off her mother's hospital bill entirely. The clerk's mouth actually fell open. Miss Okonkwo. This is all of it? Yes. How did you? I found help. Amara smiled, and for the first time in years it reached her eyes. God sent help. She paid Chidinma's school fees for the entire term, bought her sister new shoes, notebooks, a scientific calculator. Chidinma cried when Amara presented the gifts. Sister, where did this money come from? Someone kind. That's all I know. An angel. Amara hugged her sister tight. Maybe. Or maybe just someone who remembers what it's like to need angels. With the remaining money, Amara did something radical. She bought herself a new dress. Not expensive but new. Clean. Pretty. And a pair of comfortable shoes that didn't pinch. When Blessing saw her the next day, the girl gasped. Sister Amara. You look so fine. Amara laughed, a real laugh, rich and free. I feel like maybe things can get better. They will. I'm sure of it. But not everyone was happy about Amara's transformation. Scene 10. Protagonist Small Victory. Mrs. Adeyemi called Amara into the sitting room on a Tuesday afternoon. Amara's heart sank. Private conversations with employers usually meant complaints or dismissal. Emma, sit. She perched on the edge of the sofa, hands folded. Mrs. Adeyemi studied her for a long moment. You've been different lately. More present. Your work has always been good, but now it's exceptional. Amara blinked, surprised. Thank you, Ma. My sister is looking for someone to manage her boutique. She needs someone trustworthy, organized, with education. I told her about you, your university degree, your character. She wants to interview you. The words didn't make sense at first. Amara's brain struggled to process them. Ma. It's not charity. It's a real job. Salary is 70,000 naira monthly. Monday to Saturday, reasonable hours. If you're interested, I'll arrange a meeting. 70,000. That was nearly triple what she made from cleaning 3 houses. That was dignity. A real position. Using her education. Ma? Yes. Yes, I'm interested. Thank you. Thank you so much. Mrs. Adeyemi waved off the gratitude. You've earned it. You've worked for me for 3 years. Never late. Never lazy. Never dishonest. That's rare. Don't waste this chance. I won't, Ma. I promise I won't. The interview was 2 days later. Mrs. Adeyemi's sister, Mrs. Comfort Okafor, ran a boutique in Lekki, mid-range, respectable. She asked about inventory management, customer service, conflict resolution. Amara answered with the knowledge from her business degree, knowledge she'd feared was wasted. You're overqualified for this, Mrs. Okafor said bluntly. Maybe, but I'm grateful for the opportunity. I'll work harder than anyone overqualified ever has. Mrs. Okafor smiled. You start Monday. Amara walked out of that boutique and stood on the Lagos street, letting the chaos wash over her. Hawkers calling, Damfos honking, heat shimmering. And she felt something she hadn't felt in 4 years. She felt like she had a future. That evening she called Chidinma. Sister me, I got a job. A real job. Her sister screamed with joy so loud that Mama Chidi heard from across the compound. But Victoria Obi heard different news through the Lagos gossip network that connected wealthy women like telephone wires. Her friend Ngozi mentioned it during brunch. You know that boutique owner, Comfort Okafor? She just hired some girl who used to be a maid. Apparently she has a degree. Can you imagine? Victoria's coffee turned bitter in her mouth. Which girl? I don't know her name. Why? No reason. But Victoria knew. Somehow she knew. And the rage that had been simmering now boiled. That woman, that beggar who should have stayed broken, was rising. And Victoria couldn't allow it. Scene 11. The sabotage. Amara had been working at Comfort's boutique for 3 weeks when the money went missing. She arrived Monday morning to find Mrs. Okafor's face tight with controlled anger. 2 men in security uniforms stood in the store. Amara, we need to talk. My office. Cold dread flooded Amara's veins. She followed her boss, the security men trailing behind. Mrs. Okafor sat behind her desk, hands folded. 48,000 naira is missing from the weekend deposit. Saturday's sales. It was in the safe Saturday night. Sunday morning it was gone. Ma, I don't understand. You have the safe code. You and I are the only ones. But I didn't. The money is gone, Amara. Mrs. Okafor's voice cracked. I trusted you. My sister vouched for you. How could you? I didn't take it. Ma, I swear on my mother's life I didn't touch that money. Panic made Amara's voice high, desperate. Check the cameras. Please check the cameras. We don't have cameras inside the office. Only the store floor. The world tilted. This couldn't be happening. Not now. Not when things were finally improving. One of the security men spoke. Miss, if you return the money, Madam may not press charges. I don't have it. I didn't take it. But she saw it in their eyes. They didn't believe her. She was the maid-turned-employee. The girl from the slums. Of course she stole. That's what people like her did. Mrs. Okafor stood. I'm going to give you 24 hours. If the money is returned, no police. If not, I have no choice. Ma, please? Leave Amara. Now. She stumbled out of the boutique in shock. Customers stared. The other salesgirl, who'd always been cold toward Amara, whispered to a customer, not bothering to lower her voice. I knew something was off about her. Outside, Amara collapsed onto a bench, shaking. Everything was falling apart. Her job. Her reputation. Her future. How had this happened? Her phone rang. Mrs. Adeyemi. Amara, I just heard from my sister. Tell me it's not true. It's not. Mrs. Adeyemi, I didn't steal anything. I swear to you. Then how did the money disappear? I don't know. But I didn't take it. You know me. 3 years I worked for you. Did I ever? I want to believe you. Mrs. Adeyemi's voice was strained. But Amara, it looks very bad. The call ended. Amara sat alone on the bench as Lagos moved around her, indifferent to her breaking. What she didn't know was that 2 days earlier, Victoria had visited Comfort's boutique. She'd browsed, made small talk, and when the salesgirl stepped away, she'd palmed a small piece of paper from the desk, a paper with the safe code scribbled on it. Victoria had returned Sunday morning, claiming she'd left her sunglasses. The boutique was closed, but Mrs. Okafor, there doing inventory, had let her in. While Comfort retrieved the glasses from Lost and Found, Victoria slipped into the office. The safe. The code. The money. 48,000 naira tucked into her designer handbag. Simple. Clean. Devastating. Victoria didn't need the money, but she needed Amara destroyed. Back in her place. Reminded that some people don't get to rise. That evening, Victoria posted on Instagram a photo of herself with the caption, "Protect your peace by protecting your space." Not everyone who smiles is trustworthy. Trust is earned and some people will never earn it. #discernment #know your circle. The likes rolled in. Victoria felt satisfied. Righteous. Powerful. Scene 12. Observer steps in Humiliated's phone rang at 6:47 p.m. Marcus, his security chief. Sir, we have a situation concerning your person of interest. Amara Okonkwo. Humiliated's attention sharpened. Go on. She's been accused of theft from her employer. 48,000 naira. The employer is considering police involvement. What's Amara saying? She denies it. No evidence either way. But she's the only other person with access to the safe where the money was kept. Humilate set down his dinner fork. Do you believe she took it? Marcus paused. In 3 months of discreet observation, she's shown nothing but integrity. She shares her food. She helps neighbors. She works extra hours without complaint. This doesn't fit her character pattern. Then something else is happening. Find out what. Sir, the boutique has cameras in the store but not in the office. However, Nearby businesses might have coverage of entrances and exits. I'll check surveillance from the weekend.
Fast, Marcus.
If this goes to police, her life is over. Criminal record. No future jobs. Everything we've been trying to help her build, gone. Understood. Humiliated stood and walked to his office window. Below, Legos glittered like scattered stars. Millions of people, each fighting private wars. He'd risen above it, but Amara was still in the trenches. And someone was pushing her deeper. 48,000 naira. A meaningless amount to him. A life-destroying amount to her. By midnight, Marcus called back. Sir, I have something. Footage from the pharmacy next door to the boutique. Sunday morning, 6:32 a.m. A woman in designer clothes entering the boutique. She's with the owner. Looks like normal entry. But watch what happened 16 minutes later. Humiliated pulled up the video file Marcus sent. The timestamp read 6:48 a.m. A woman exited the boutique alone, tall, confident, wearing Gucci. She walked to a red Mercedes CLA. Humiliated's jaw clenched. He'd recognize that car anywhere. That's Victoria Obi. Yes, sir. And there's more. I traced her purchases from that morning. At 7:15 a.m., she bought breakfast at a cafe. Paid cash. The cashier remembers because she used only small bills, thousands and 500s. Unusual for someone driving that car. How much total? 4,000 naira. For breakfast. But she had a lot more cash visible in her wallet. Humiliated leaned back in his chair. The pieces assembled themselves. Victoria had framed Amara. The cruelty of the intersection hadn't satisfied her. She needed total destruction. Get me everything on Victoria Obi's movements that weekend. Bank records if possible. I have contacts at most institutions. Also check if she has any connection to the boutique owner or Amara. Already on it. Sir. What are you planning? Justice, Marcus. The kind money can buy, but character deserves. Scene 13. Vindication. Mrs. Okafor received the call Tuesday morning from an unknown number. Mrs. Okafor? My name is Marcus Adekunle. I represent a concerned party who has evidence regarding the theft at your boutique. Would you be willing to meet? Comfort was desperate enough to agree. That afternoon, Marcus arrived at the boutique with a tablet and a serious expression. Ma'am, I'm going to show you something. I ask that you watch completely before commenting. He played the pharmacy footage. Victoria entering. 17 minutes later, Victoria exiting. So? She's a customer. She probably forgot something. Please watch this next part. Marcus showed the cafe footage. Victoria paying for breakfast with a wallet full of small bills. I still don't. Mrs. Okafor. When was the last time you saw someone of Victoria Obi's wealth pay for a 4,000 naira breakfast with small bills? She uses cards. Always. I verified this with 3 establishments she frequents. Understanding dawned slowly on Comfort's face. Marcus continued. Furthermore, we checked with your bank. The missing money. Serial numbers on file from your deposit slips 2 weeks ago. Large bills. Those same serial numbers appeared yesterday in a deposit made by Victoria Obi at a different branch. But why? Why would she? That's not my concern. My employer simply wants justice for an innocent woman. You accused Amara Okonkwo of theft. She didn't commit it. This woman did. Marcus pointed to Victoria on the screen. Comfort's hand covered her mouth. Oh God. What have I done? You can make it right. Call Amara. Apologize. Give her back her job. And if you choose to press charges against the real thief, my employer will ensure you have the best lawyers. Who is your employer? Marcus smiled slightly. Someone who believes in protecting the innocent. That's all you need to know. 2 hours later, Amara's phone rang. Amara, it's Mrs. Okafor. Please don't hang up. I owe you the deepest apology. It wasn't you. We have proof. It was someone else, a customer who stole the money. I'm so sorry I doubted you. Please come back to work. Please forgive me. Amara sat on her mattress, phone pressed to her ear, unable to speak. Relief and disbelief warred in her chest. Amara? Are you there? Yes, Ma. I'm here. Tomorrow. Come tomorrow. Your job is waiting. And I'll pay you for the days you missed. I'm so deeply sorry. When the call ended, Amara didn't move for 10 minutes. Then she fell to her knees and wept, gratitude pouring out in great racking sobs. Blessing found her that way, heard the story and cried with her. God is fighting for you, Sister Amara. Can't you see? I see, Amara whispered. For the first time in so long I see hope. ACT 3. Climax and Resolution Scene 14. Big reveal set up. The invitation arrived 3 weeks later, hand-delivered by courier to the boutique. Miss Amara Okonkwo, you are cordially invited to the Betrayal Foundation Annual Dignity Gala. Friday, November 15, 7 p.m. Eco Hotel and Suites, Victoria Island. Attire formal. Please honor us with your presence as our special guest. Amara showed it to Mrs. Okafor, confused. Ma, do you know what this is? Comfort's eyes widened. The Betrayal Foundation? Amara, that's one of the biggest charitable organizations in Nigeria, run by Oluyemi Betrayal himself. But why would they invite you? I don't know. There must be a mistake. There's a phone number. Call them. Amara called. A professional woman's voice answered. Hello, Miss Okonkwo. We've been expecting your call. Yes, the invitation is specifically for you. Mr. Betrayal has requested your presence. Transportation will be provided. Is there anything you need? I don't have clothes for something like this. That's been arranged. A package will arrive tomorrow with everything you need. We look forward to seeing you Friday. The call ended before Amara could protest further. The package arrived the next day. Inside, a midnight blue dress. Elegant, modest, beautiful. Shoes that fit perfectly. Simple jewelry. And a note. You've carried yourself with dignity in borrowed clothes. Tonight we're something chosen for you. Your friend. Amara's hands trembled. This friend. This invisible guardian angel. They would be at the gala. She'd finally meet them. Friday evening, as promised, a car arrived. Not a taxi. An actual car service, the driver in uniform treating her like someone important. Chidinma helped her dress. Sister, you look like a queen. I feel like I'm dreaming. If you are, don't wake up. The drive to Eco Hotel took 40 minutes. Amara watched Lagos transform from her familiar struggling neighborhoods to the gleaming wealth of Victoria Island. 2 worlds, 1 city. At the hotel entrance, women in designer gowns and men in tailored suits streamed inside. Amara felt her confidence waver. She didn't belong here. But the security guard checked her name on the list and smiled. Welcome, Miss Okonkwo. You're at table 3. VIP section. VIP? Her. Amara from a Jao estate. She walked inside on shaking legs. Scene 15. The event. The ballroom was magnificent. Crystal chandeliers. Gold accents. Tables set with precision. At least 300 guests. All of them radiating wealth and importance. Amara found table 3. The placards read like a who's who of Nigerian elite. Beside her name, Honorable Senator Adiwale, and Dr. Patience Okonkwo, and her breath stopped. Mrs. Victoria Obi. No, it couldn't be. But there she was, across the room in a gold dress, laughing with her circle of friends. The woman from the intersection. The woman who'd called her a thief and a beggar. Amara's instinct screamed to run. But something stronger held her in place. Curiosity. Defiance. The knowledge that she'd been invited specifically. She belonged here at least tonight. She sat, keeping her eyes down, praying Victoria wouldn't notice. But Victoria noticed. She was mid-conversation when she glanced toward table 3 and froze. That face. The maid. Here. In a beautiful dress. At her table. Victoria's stomach twisted with something beyond rage. This was wrong. Fundamentally, cosmically wrong. How had this woman infiltrated this space? She excused herself and approached Amara with a smile that didn't reach her eyes. Well. Fancy seeing you here. Did they hire you to serve drinks? Amara looked up. Her voice steady despite her hammering heart. No, ma. I'm a guest. Victoria's laugh was sharp. A guest? Really? Who invited you? Someone's made quota. She leaned closer, voice dropping. You don't belong here. These people would eat you alive if they knew what you really were. And what am I? Amara asked quietly. Exactly what I said that day. Someone who should know her place. A man's voice, deep and controlled, cut through the tension. And what place would that be, Mrs. Obi? Both women turned. A man stood there, tall, distinguished, in an impeccable navy suit. Power radiated from him like heat. His eyes, kind but sharp, focused on Victoria with an intensity that made her step back. Mr. Bakir, Victoria stammered. I didn't see you. Clearly. Alumite turned to Amara, his expression softening. Miss Okonkwo, I apologize for the discourtesy. Please be comfortable. You are exactly where you should be. He walked away before either woman could respond. Victoria stood frozen, humiliation coloring her cheeks. Around them, people had noticed the exchange. Whispers started. Amara sat back down, her mind reeling. Alumide Bakir. The billionaire. Theo. He knew her name. Could he be? Scene 16. Identity revealed. Dinner was served. Speeches given. Awards presented. Amara barely tasted the food, barely heard the words. Her eyes kept finding Alumide Bakir at the main table, and sometimes she wasn't imagining it. He was looking back. Finally, the program reached its conclusion. Alumide took the microphone. Thank you all for joining us tonight to celebrate dignity. A word we often use but rarely understand. Dignity isn't given. It can't be bought. It exists in every human being, regardless of wealth or status. But it can be honored or attacked, lifted or crushed. His eyes swept the room, landing briefly on Victoria, then on Amara. 3 months ago, I witnessed something that changed me. I saw a woman humiliated in public for the crime of existing while poor. I saw cruelty delivered casually, as if some lives matter less than others. And I saw something else. I saw how that woman carried herself afterward. With grace. With dignity. Still working. Still sacrificing. Still kind. Amara's breath caught. No. He couldn't mean. I decided then to do something. Not to save her. She was already saving herself. But to ease her burden. To give her options. To prove that someone saw her worth. Alumide stepped away from the podium and walked directly toward table 3. Toward Amara. The ballroom went silent. He stopped in front of her. Amara Okonkwo, I am your anonymous friend. I've been watching your journey, not as an intrusion, but as a witness to extraordinary character. The gifts, the account, the evidence that cleared your name. All of it. My small way of honoring your dignity. Tears streamed down Amara's face. She couldn't speak, couldn't breathe. Alumide continued, his voice gentle now, meant only for her but amplified for all to hear. I did this because 35 years ago, I was a child watching my mother be humiliated by someone who thought wealth made them better. I couldn't help her then. I was powerless. But I promised myself that if I ever had power, I'd use it to restore what cruelty steals. He knelt